What's up, everybody? Thanks for tuning in to this edition of Tricks of the Month Profiles. Today we get to hang out with Casey Wood. And Casey, I was wondering if you could tell us a little bit more about yourself, where you're from, how long you've been juggling, and what you're most excited about when it comes to juggling right now.
My name is Casey Wood. I am from Australia, from a tiny little town in the southwest, a long way from anything else, though I'm currently living in France. And I first learned to juggle when I was 10 years old, so 13 years ago, but I have not been training like solid since then, or I would be a lot better than I am now. I've kind of been like on and off, like, you know, doing little bits of training here and there, and a little bit of all the other circus disciplines as well. But yeah, that's what I learned. And right now, for me, I think because that's the thing that most interests me, I'm the most excited that there's more people now like kind of taking juggling and doing something else with it, like acrobatics or like combining it in another way with circus. So yeah, that's what interests me the most right now, because that's kind of what closest to what I'm doing. So seeing more people doing that it's nice.
Right.
Yeah.
And what kind of inspired you to start exploring juggling combined with other circus arts?
Well, the first thing, like catching balls on my feet, that I first saw someone do that in 2011, I think. That was Olivia Porter, who's an Australian juggler, she's amazing. She does lots of stuff with her feet. It's really nice, and combining kind of dance with it as well. So I first saw her do that, and then I was like, I want to learn how to do that. I want to learn how to catch balls on my feet. So after that, I learned. I practiced for months and eventually got it. And then a few years after that, I saw a video online, and I wish I remembered who it was, but I have no idea. And it was this guy, and he put a ball in his foot, and he went into a handstand, but like he didn't stay there. He went up and then came straight back down. So his foot was always kind of moving. And I saw that, and I thought I need to learn that. Like I need to be able to do that. And so then I learned that, and then I learned how to stay in a handstand with the ball on the foot. Yeah, so that's kind of how I originally got inspired to do this kind of stuff. And then after that, I kind of just kept playing and finding more and more things, like cartwheels and other, you know.
Yeah. What's the favorite kind of combination acrobatic juggling move you've come up with?
The one that I've recently in the last year started doing, it's like going into a one arm on one hand, and I have a Norwick, like a Russian bowl, and I roll it in one hand, and then I swap to the other hand, and it goes in a circle, and I come back and I can catch it and go into a one arm, so it like rolls on the ground, which it's really hard to get the ball to come back to like the right spot, because it can change so easily.
Right.
But yeah, it's really like you get a good feeling when it comes back, and it's like, oh yes.
Yeah.
It worked.
Yeah, you said it's hard to get the ball to roll in the right place, and that reminds me of some things that were happening in your video that were kind of blowing my mind. But we'll talk about that in a second. What was it that inspired you to get into circus arts at all? I think that was when I was 10 as well, and there was a girl in my class at school, and her mum ran a little community circus after school. And I didn't know her that well at that time, but we kind of, you know, were in the same class. We knew, I think she knew I'd done like a tiny bit of gymnastics when I was younger. I'd done like 1 year, so really not much, but a little bit. And they had a circus show coming up in 3 days, and one of the girls in the show had just broken her arm. So they like needed someone to replace her, and she was like, do you want to come and do a circus show? And so in the next 2 days, I learned the show, and then I did it, and that was my first circus experience. Awesome.
Doing a performance. And then after that, I stuck with it, and then I kind of started doing it more and more often until now, where that's all I do.
Right.
That's it.
So kind of in high school, were you involved in clubs and stuff?
Yeah, we had I was really lucky where I grew up. Every single January for the whole month, there's like a circus intensive camp that my old teacher runs. So every January I would spend which is basically all the holidays I would spend here, like at that festival training
I don't know, 9-10 hours a day. I don't know how much we did.
Wow.
Yeah, and then the rest of the year we'd train a bit, but not that much.
Mm-hmm.
And then every January it was like intense.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's amazing.
So you said you grew up in Australia, and now you live in France, and that's not where you are right now. You just got to Argentina last night.
Yes.
And here you are, working hard.
Yeah.
So would you say that you've been able to see a lot more of the world than you think you would?
Yeah, I think so. As soon as I left school, I worked for a few months to save up some money, and then I headed to Europe for 4 or 6 months or something.
Mm-hmm.
And I worked with some people that I'd met growing up at this festival. So there were contacts that I'd known. They'd been teaching me since I was about 12, and then I'd kind of grown up and left school, and they were like, okay, come and do like a kind of summer tour with us. And so I was there just helping them backstage doing their tech.
Mm-hmm.
So with them, I got to go to a lot of different places and do shows. And since then, I was involved in a circus show with 2 other girls. So we went around and did some tours. We performed in Germany and all around Australia.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I've been to a lot of festivals and a lot of different places that I would never go to, like if I wasn't there doing a show or going to a festival or a convention. Yeah.
That's awesome. Do you have a show that you've, like a juggling sketch or show or festival, like an experience watching a show where you, I don't know, not starstruck, but just felt like, oh, this is the best. This is like where I'm supposed to be right now.
I don't know if watching a show, but I do know the first time I went to EJC, which was in Toulouse in France, where I'm now living. I didn't know a single person before I got there. Like I had no one.
Mm-hmm.
And like throughout the course of the week or 10 days or however long it was, I met so many people, and it was such an incredible experience. And by the end, I had like this whole group of friends that like I still talk to them to this day.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so I think during that week, I kind of like there was a big realization of wow, like this community is insane. Like so many amazing people.
All right, so your style of juggling, why is that your favorite way to juggle?
I think it's really nice to find, well, because handstands and juggling have always kind of been the 2 things that I do the most, that I love. And so it's been so nice being able to find ways to perform doing them both together. And because I think I don't have the patience or the brain set, I think, to be like a super technical juggler and to spend the 5 hours every day, how more than everyone else does to do these crazy insane tricks on stage. Like, I don't know, I'm not driven as much to.
Right. Didn't you flash 7 balls in your video? Did that happen?
Yeah, no. I've for a while. I think after EJC when I met all these people and they're all like insane technical jugglers, and so they kind of like egged me on. They were like, yeah, like you have to do this. And so then I did for there was like a year or 2 that I was doing a lot more kind of technical stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, but doing it on stage, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not as driven to do that.
Yeah. So what's your favorite kind of ball to use for your juggling?
I use Norwix.
All right.
The Norwegian-made Russian-style bowls that everyone says, are they like those bowls you find in the bowl pits? And I'm like, yes. No. I'll fight. Yeah.
Okay, and the last big question is, what were you trying to communicate through your video?
The Tricks of the Month one?
Yeah, through your Tricks of the Month video, what did you want people to walk away with? Let me ask that again. And the last big question is what? One more time. Last big question. What was? Oh, you're laughing. It's throwing me off. All right.
Sorry.
No, it's not your fault. It's me. It's not you. It's me. Lastly, last big question. What were you trying to communicate in your Tricks of the Month video? What did you want people to walk away with after they watched it?
Well, I think before I made mine, I went back and I've watched quite a few of the videos to see kind of what people were doing, and a lot of them were just kind of shot. They're all great videos. I'm not saying they're not good, but they're all like shot in parks, or I don't know, like
And I don't know, I wanted to make something really kind of nice, like in a theater with cool lighting, and then also at the same time showcasing the things that I do.
I think a lot of the videos, just juggling videos in general, are kind of shot from kind of a square angle, straight back from distance. Whereas I would say with your video, there's definitely a lot more experimentation with where the camera was and what was in the window.
I think being at a French school, like everything, you kind of experiment a lot with different ways of doing things, because it's all like, it's very kind of, you know, French in the way we all think of it.
Right.
Yeah. So I guess that there's a pretty strong influence of that on all the things that I'm doing right now, and like how I'm like the thing with the red hoodie jacket. At school we have like a research class where we get to experiment with different things and like try stuff in front of our class, and they give us feedback. And so that character was kind of something I found in that class, and then I did like a performance with it. And I don't know, it kind of works well on stage, so I wanted to include that a bit because there's lots of kind of nice things you can do with balls with that jacket as well.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, I was impressed. I think you flipped one up from your foot. Maybe it was to your hand, but then it was around your back and then ended up in your pocket somehow.
Yeah, no, from my foot, like over the shoulder.
Yeah, that was. Did you get that on your first try? Like, is that something you can do consistently? Or?
I only started doing it like a few weeks ago or a month ago, so it's not solid, but I've done it on stage and it's been fine.
That's awesome.
So yeah, I like it.
That's pretty cool.
The jacket has like huge pockets and it's great.
Yeah.
So much potential.
And then earlier I made a remark about how I didn't understand what was going on with the balls. You were rolling them on the ground, but it looked like you were like on a ramp or something, and I was like, "How is this happening?"
No, it's all flat. It's like it's just on a stage. It's because the Norwics, they have a bit of sand in them, and so if you spin them, they go in a circle.
Okay. So it's all about the spin action.
Yeah, and it's just like how you spin it kind of determines where it's going to come back. So you kind of slowly learn how to spin it to make it come back to you, because otherwise you spin it and it like ends up 4 meters away on the other side of the stage. But yeah, it was really nice being able to get that shot, because normally for an audience they're sitting like at ground level or only a tiny bit raised, and so they don't really see it. But I think from like a bird's eye view, it creates a really nice image.
All right, well, one last question. What are some words of advice for the juggling community at large?
I don't know, try, like, experiment with new things. Like, I think it's something I discovered at EJC a few years ago, that so many jugglers, like, they're not, like, they don't perform at all. This is, like, completely not related. But anyway, I was going to say, like, try and, like, perform things. Like, it's so great. But if you don't want to perform, like, a lot of people don't do it because they like performing. I guess for me, it's like, I don't know. I come from a circus background, like, less from a juggling background. So I find it strange. But lots of people, like, it's their sport, like, less and less of a
Well,
lifestyle.
I mean, like you were saying with your red jacket character, I mean, that's a character that came out of performing, right?
Yeah. I think trying things on stage gives you a whole another way into like a different way of doing things, and I completely didn't answer the question.
Well, no, I feel like I took two things from that. One is see what else you can kind of incorporate into your juggling. Maybe there's another hobby that you have or something you really like doing. And then also, getting out of your comfort zone and performing. Maybe that doesn't even have to be necessarily for, on an actual stage. It could be in front of some friends, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Anywhere. Yeah. It's a whole nother thing when there's people watching, like, I don't know, it gives a whole nother purpose to what you're doing and like what you think you can do on a stage, and then what you actually can't do on stage. Yeah, it's really hard, like, to the crowd.
Absolutely. I'll be like working on something and I'll be like, Rachel, my wife, look at this, and it'll take me like 10 tries. It's like, I'm just doing it, I swear. But then I think, well, maybe I wasn't really. Maybe it was taking 10 tries before and I just didn't realize because I was in a zone or whatever. All right.
In that mentality.
Cool. Well, thanks for being with us.
That's right. Thanks for having me.
And thanks everybody else for watching. And until next time,
Yeah.
keep on
Yes.
juggling.
All right. Thank you.